Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Morning English podcast. I am Joseph.
And this is Kara. 大家好，我是早安英文的卡拉，欢迎收听我们今天的早安英文。
Hello, welcome to Morning English. 早安英文呢是一个为大家免费提供英语教学的频道，每天都会更新。如果你想获得关于英语听说读写的内容，我们都会在这个频道更新。我们的目标是帮助全球的华人学好英语。如果你觉得还不错的话，记得给我们订阅哦。另外，点开小铃铛，这样的话就不会错过其他任何学习视频啦。对了，如果你想获取本节课的完整版笔记，在视频简介或者评论区领取哦。你也可以给这个视频点赞，点赞就相当于自动保存啦。
Okay, so the other day, when I was reading an article from The Economist, I saw a phrase plain Jane, and I looked it up in the dictionary. It says plain Jane just means a plain woman, an average-looking woman. So I was thinking, why's that? I mean, why does it have to be Jane? Jane of all girls' names.
Well, first of all, it doesn't even have to mean a person. Sometimes we just say it to mean plain. So the reason it is Jane is because there's no reason except for the fact that Jane rhymes with plain. So instead of just saying, oh, that's boring, or that's very normal, you can say, oh, it's plain Jane, just because it's a cute way, a fun way to say boring.
所以其实主要的原因呢，是因为他们两个 plain 和 Jane， 他们两个是合脚押韵的，所以念起来非常的上口，所以说起来也会觉得非常的有意思。当然还有一个呢，是因为 Jane 是一个非常常用、非常普遍的女性英文名，所以平时我们可以怎么样去用这个短语呢？比如说 ，If you have an idol, I guess you don't have an idol, right? Yeah. 那么如果你有一个爱豆的话 ，you may probably use this sentence one day, which is, I wonder why a handsome guy like cha 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 had a crush on such a plain Jane.
Right, and you're saying that you think that person, which happens to be a girl, is very plain, and to you, you think you're better than she is. Maybe you think you're smarter or just better in some sort of way. So you call her a plain Jane.
对，或者如果说你觉得说，哎，她真的就是长得很一般啊，你就可以讲 She is indeed a plain Jane.
Right. I would say that calling someone a plain Jane isn't particularly nice, but sometimes it can be said without being offensive, just kind of saying normal. Again, nothing special, but you should be very careful when you say it because even if you meant no offense to the person, they still might be offended because everyone wants to be special.
对，就是这种话呢，可能你还是不会当着人家面去说，因为任何一个女孩子都不会希望自己是一个平凡的女孩子，是一个平平无奇的女孩子，是吧？所以呢，用的时候要斟酌，要慎重。其实呢，英文当中有很多像这样含有人名的常用短语，比如说刚刚我们讲 plain Jane， 它是形容女孩子的，那自然呢，我们也需要一些形容average 的男孩子。这个时候呢，我们讲的是 average Joe. This is mainly used in North American.
Right, so like I said, plain Jane can be a fun way of saying something is plain, something is boring, but you can use it to mean a woman. You can't use it for a man, so we just say average Joe. And I would say that plain Jane is maybe a little bit more offensive than average Joe.
Really?
I would say average Joe is completely neutral.
就是如果你讲 plain Jane 的话，你这个 offensive 就这种冒犯的感觉会比 average Joe 要强烈一点点，大家自己去斟酌啊。那么这个 average Joe 呢，它指的就是那种非常非常典型、非常普普通通的美国人，当然了，一般是用来指男孩子。
Right, so I would say an average Joe would fall under these traits. They're not considered to be dumb, but not exceptionally smart. They follow sports because apparently that's very popular in America. And they have a normal job that's a 5-day-a-week, 6-day-a-week, 9 to 5, normal, you know.
就是这种 white collar worker.
Exactly, because you're not special. You're just a normal person. Nothing good, nothing bad. Average.
对，所以就是说有这些特征的人呢，你就可以去讲他是一个 average Joe. Actually, according to your description, I think it's not too bad to be an average Joe. They seem to live a very loose and casual and peaceful life.
Yeah, I'd say it's not a bad life, but maybe not so peaceful. Maybe have a little bit of stress because remember, you're average, so you don't have so much money, but you're not poor.
对。
So whenever they're talking about people in movies, you know, I don't have big dreams. I just want to be an average Joe.
对，反正人们总是想要自己没有的东西嘛。那既然聊到了这个 Joe, I want to introduce another phrase, the number one nickname for coffee. Do you know that?
Yeah. Joe.
Yeah, a cup of Joe. 对，这个呢是咖啡的一个头号昵称。
Yeah, a cup of Joe is just your normal coffee in a cup. Totally normal.
对，所以呢，关于这个说法的起源，就为什么偏偏是 Joe 呢？有好几个说法，其中一个呢是说，来自一战期间美国的一个海军的指挥官，他的名字呢叫做 Joseph Daniels， 然后呢，他颁布了一个叫做美国舰队的禁酒令。那大家喝不了酒怎么办呢？就只能多喝咖啡来填补心里面的空虚啊。然后呢，就心有愤懑，就开始把咖啡叫做 a cup of Joe， 就是我喝下的都是一杯杯的 Joseph。Oh,
I didn't know that. The only famous Daniels that I know would be Jack Daniels.
Okay.
How'd you know about this name?
I googled, yeah, so I kind of know. But
okay.
Anyway, there's not an accurate statement.
Okay. I thought it was because related to the average Joe. In America, coffee's normal. It's an average thing to do, so an average Joe has his cup of Joe in the morning.
对，这个说法也还挺有意思的，就是说跟我们刚刚讲的这个 average Joe 有关系，因为咖啡是每一个普通人都能够平等享有的饮品嘛。
Kara, you're a girl. You like watching romantic movies?
Yeah.
Have you ever watched the movie Dear John?
Oh, yes. I love it so much. You know, I love Amanda Seyfried. Do you know her?
I know nothing about this.
Wow, she's perfect, you know. And I also read the novel.
Oh, okay. Well, so I guess maybe because you read the book and you saw the movie, maybe you're familiar with the idea of Dear John or a Dear John letter?
Yeah. 就我们刚刚说这个 Dear John，首先呢，它是一本美国作家写的小说，然后呢又改编拍成了电影。它的中文名字我们就翻译成了分手信，所以在英文当中 Dear John letter 它指的就是女方写给男方的分手信。比如说 She wrote her boyfriend a Dear John letter and moved to Japan， 就是说她给她男朋友写了一封分手信，然后呢就搬去日本了。
Okay, so for this term, what I heard was that it comes from the name John is very popular in the United States,
yeah.
And very popular especially around the time of the First World War. And so many young men had this name, and many young men were soldiers, so they had to leave America and be far away from home for many months. And their wives or girlfriends found new men at home because there was no one around. So they would write a letter to their husband or their boyfriend explaining why they left. So, Dear John, sorry, but...
So sad. 就人们普遍认为这个词源于一战时期，因为当时很多就是军人的女友不愿意长时间的独守空房，于是呢就找了新欢，或者说选择离开。那么这个时候呢，大多会用这种充满爱意啊，但是又充满这种遗憾的口气开始一封信，写 Dear John， 然后呢怎么样，就讲述这个我不得不和你分开的原因。But how do you call a letter written to a woman by her husband or romantic partner to inform her their relationship is over?
Well, I'm not exactly sure about that one, but I can explain to you why I believe what I believe it would be. In America, if you have a dead person and it's a man and they don't know his name, it's a John Doe. And if it's a woman, it's a Jane Doe. So if it's a Dear John letter, because John's a popular common name, so probably called a Dear Jane letter.
Okay, poor John, poor Jane. 真是可怜的两个名字。
So the next one that we can talk about is Roger That. It comes from the fact that R is the first letter of received, and it's easy to understand when someone says Roger That across a phone or a way that you can only hear but not see their mouth when they're speaking. So I think this term originated around the time of the Second World War.
就是这个短语呢，大家可能在很多的动作片啊或者战争片里面看到，就是有角色对着那种无线电讲 Roger that， 所以这个呢是国际通用的一个通讯用语，意思是收到。那为什么是 Roger 而不是 Jason 或者 Sandy 之类的呢？就有个说法是因为 Roger 的 R 和 receive 是同字首，所以呢 Roger 就表示 receive， 表示收到的意思。一开始呢这个说法都是用于军方啊或者说战争啊等等，但是后来也慢慢的流入民间，所以说我们平时有什么消息啊或者邮件啊也可以开玩笑的讲 Roger that。 好，最后一个我们来聊一下 Jack. Jack is a pretty common name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any Jack idiom?
Oh, there's so many. I guess the first one that I can think of off the top of my head is one that I use all the time, Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. What does it mean?
Well, the way I always explain to people what it means is if you look at a deck of cards, you can see a king.
Yeah.
And we all know what a king is. And if you go lower but still look at the min cards, you have the jack. So it's kind of like a prince or a lower level royalty person. So a person who would be a jack of all trades, he can do many things well, but maybe not one thing perfectly.
Oh, so it's like Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly. You can help out many people, but you don't have a specialty. Your specialty is many things.
So is it positive or negative?
It depends on how you use it. If you would say, oh, I can help you do this or that or this other thing, I'm a jack of all trades. If someone thinks that you're not very qualified for one thing, they can reply, master of none.
Oh.
So it can be positive or negative depending on how you use it.
所以这个短语呢，再给大家重复一次，叫做 Jack of all trades, master of none。如果呢作为积极意义来解释啊，就是说这个人他什么都会，万事通，什么都能解决。但是呢，作为消极意义来解释，就是说他什么都会一点，但是呢什么都不精通。这个就是根据你说话的这个语境来决定它是一个积极意义还是消极意义。
And since you seem to be so fond of the name Jack, I have one more Jack for you. Someone can say, you don't know Jack.
You don't know Jack?
Yeah. Do you know Jack?
Yeah, I know. I think I know.
But when we say you don't know Jack, this one word Jack would refer to you don't know anything.
Oh.
So when we say you don't know Jack, it means you know nothing.
Oh, that really hurts.
I guess because Jack is a very common name, so you don't know anything, so you don't even know a man named Jack. I don't know where it comes from, but it's a very common phrase in America.
所以如果你讲 you don't know Jack, 它的意思就是说你啥也不懂，你什么都不知道 you don't know anything.
Exactly. So I guess after this podcast of all these common names with special idioms, maybe everyone now knows a little bit of something.
对。
So we can leave them all knowing they know some kind of Jack.
好，那我们今天的节目呢，就和大家分享到这里了。希望大家平时生活中呢，可以用上这一些含有人名的有趣的短语，可以让你听起来更加的像 native speaker， 也会让你的谈话变得更加的有趣。
Hello, welcome to Morning English. 早安英文呢是一个为大家免费提供英语教学的频道，每天都会更新。如果你想获得关于英语听说读写的内容，我们都会在这个频道更新。我们的目标是帮助全球的华人学好英语。如果你觉得还不错的话，记得给我们订阅哦。另外，点开小铃铛，这样的话就不会错过其他任何学习视频啦。对了，如果你想获取本节课的完整版笔记，在视频简介或者评论区领取哦。你也可以给这个视频点赞，点赞就相当于自动保存啦。
那我是卡拉
And I'm Joseph.
我们下期再见吧，拜拜。
We'll see you later.